Before we begin our program, I acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee. This land has also been home to the Wendat peoples and Seneca peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaties signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. I want to express thanks and appreciation to those whose territory we reside on, a territory that has provided safe haven for so many immigrants and refugees. This acknowledgement aims to recognize and honor the Indigenous people who are the original occupants of this land and who have suffered and continue to suffer as a result of our settlement and development of the land. As a settlement agency, JIAS Toronto recognizes that it is our duty to educate ourselves, our staff, and our clients, newcomers to this country, about the history of Canada's Indigenous peoples, about the heavy impacts of colonization, and about the Truth and Reconciliation Report and the 94 recommended calls to action. We cannot claim to promote diversity and inclusion without addressing these injustices in our society and taking steps towards reconciliation, and we are committed to doing better. We are proud that JIAS has created programming on Indigenous heritage so that newcomers are educated about Canada's history and the contributions the Indigenous population has made to this country. I also want to share our deep condolences with the Indigenous communities in Saskatchewan and throughout Canada that have been dealing with the recent tragedies. The James Smith Cree Nation is in our thoughts. My name is Anna Morgan, and I am the chair of JIAS Toronto. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. I'd like to welcome fellow board members, returning and new, JIAS Toronto staff, clients, volunteers, friends, and donors. We are thrilled to have greetings this evening provided by the Honourable Minister Sean Fraser, Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. The Honourable Minister Monty McNaughton, Ontario Minister of Labour, Immigration, Training, and Skills Development, and Adam Minsky, CEO of UJA Federation of Greater Toronto. We are delighted to have join us representatives from IRCC, who we work closely with to welcome, support, and integrate new immigrants and refugees. It is my pleasure to acknowledge representation from one of our key funders, UJA Federation of Greater Toronto, Dan Held, Chief Program Officer, and Josh Otis, Social Services and Community Innovation Director. There are also a number of partner agencies who are attending this evening, including Talia Breslin from JF&CS and Lisa Lipowitz from Kahila. This evening, there will be a combination of short remarks and videos. At the end of the meeting, the board will conduct their formal business before we adjourn the AGM. What does it feel like to arrive in a new country, knowing that you can't go back to where you came from because the place you left is in turmoil, and yet not know whether you'll ever feel at home in this new place? What does it feel like to set out on a journey filled with uncertainty and anxiety? We know what that feels like as Jews and as Canadians, because that is built into all of our historical experiences. Over the past year, as chair of JIAS, I've watched with incredible admiration and respect how we've risen to challenges. We've helped those experiencing some of the most difficult moments imaginable, still working around COVID challenges, the settlement of Syrians, Yazidis, Afghans, and the immigration needs of our clients. JIAS was faced with a new world crisis when Russia invaded Ukraine. That is when I saw firsthand the incredible generosity and compassion that marks our community in its best moments. Our own historical experiences have defined our responses. Volunteers offered their help from every corner. Lawyers offered to help fill out immigration application forms. Landlords donated apartments. Airbnb donated space. Strangers donated furniture and their time. Everyone I spoke to, even my dog walker, asked what they could do to help. Over the past year, JIAS has become the heart and soul of the community. All this while continuing some of our most important work on other fronts. We've completed a diversity, equity, and inclusion study and are in the process of implementing it in a meaningful way. We have discussed ways to deal with housing issues and immigration backlogs that bottleneck the successful integration of our clients. We've assembled committees and are in the process of revamping them to make them more effective. We've initiated a newsletter to make sure we are as transparent and informative as possible. These are just some of our accomplishments this year. As chair of the board, it has been important to anchor us in the realities of our needs. I have had an incredible board to help me do this, and I want to thank all our board members. While covering our basis on the crisis at hand, we have also had reason to celebrate this year. JIAS launched our 100th anniversary with a celebration at Zoomer Studios. That event made me realize not only how difficult these events are to organize, but how important they are for the future of our organization. I want to thank UJA Federation for their ongoing support and the Canadian government for their financial commitments and for consulting with us on how best to welcome those in need. Without our funders, partners, and donors, we could not do what we need to do. And I cannot thank you enough for believing in JIAS and for helping us help others. Adam Hummel will be stepping down as vice chair after helping us get through this incredible year. Thank you, Adam. Shelley Markell and Nanette Rosen will become co-vice chairs, and I couldn't ask for better support for the next year. Bonnie Zellman, David Lubeck, and Linda Egra will be joining our board, and I look forward to working with them. I have to admit that the JIAS board is an A-team group of individuals. Together, we rose to a huge challenge to make our organization into something we can all be proud of. I want to express gratitude to Lise Herzig and her incredible staff for all their hard work this year. What a year it has been. I also want to thank our incredible team of volunteers. Many people offer their help and don't quite know what to do. You jumped in and have shown what it means to jump to the forefront in time of need. Lastly, I want to note that JIAS has learned over the past year what it means to be ready in times of crisis. I wish I felt that our jobs are now done. The world is changing, and as Canadians, I do believe that we have to be ready to meet future challenges as they come. We've proven that we can. Let's now turn our attention to our 100th anniversary campaign, We See You.